All right, let's get into it. Today we're going to dig into a topic that is, well, literally foundational to our safety, but it's something most of us probably never think about. We're talking about the secret relationship between the soil under your house and whether that house is actually safe. So, I want to start with a question for you. If you had to pick the single most important part of a house, what would it be? Maybe the roof that keeps you dry? The walls? Well, the answer is actually the part you can't even see. It's the foundation. Think about it. It's the silent anchor for everything else. Every single wall, every floor, the entire roof. It all depends completely on the strength of what's holding it up from below.
So to really understand what a foundation does, we first have to talk about what it's sitting on. We have to look at the ground below.
And this brings us to a simple but absolutely crucial truth. Not all soil is created equal. It's so easy to just think of the ground as, well, ground. Just solid, dependable stuff. But the reality? It's way more complicated than that.
In fact, believe it or not, depending on where you live, the very ground under your feet could be a foundation's worst enemy, a hidden threat just silently working away right underneath the surface. And the source material we're looking at gives a really specific warning. It says, clay in rainy season can damage foundations. This isn't just some vague idea. It's a direct diagnosis. The problem is clay, and what sets it off is water.
So, what is the deal with clay? What makes it so different, so potentially destructive when you compare it to other kinds of soil?
Okay, so check this out. Most stable soils, think sand or a nice loam, they let water just drain right through. They pretty much stay put. Clay soil, on the other hand, is basically a giant sponge. When it rains, it soaks up incredible amounts of water, and it actually swells up and expands. Then when things get dry, it does the opposite. It shrinks, it gets hard, it cracks. This constant cycle of swelling and shrinking puts a massive amount of stress and movement on a foundation, and that's what leads to cracks, shifts, and sometimes total failure.
So if the ground itself can be that unstable, how on earth do we build anything on it safely? Well, this is where the experts come in. This is the engineer's insight.
The solution isn't just to say, oh, let's not build here. It's about being smarter than the soil. And that takes a very specific kind of expertise.
So what do engineers do? They follow this super logical three-step process. First up, they analyze the site, looking at things like how water drains and the shape of the land. Then comes the most important part. They actually test the soil. They need to know exactly what it's made of and how much it's going to expand and shrink. And only when they have that data can they do the final step. Design a foundation that's custom-built to handle the unique pressures of that specific piece of land.
Okay, so we've got all this engineering talk, but what does this mean for us in our everyday lives? Why does this actually matter so much? It matters because this expertise is what turns a piece of questionable ground into a safe, solid place you can call home. That one little step, testing the soil before you even start building, that's the difference between a house that lasts for generations and one that's a constant headache of expensive and dangerous problems. It's the unseen work that creates very real, lasting safety for everyone inside.
And that really makes you think, doesn't it? We've just uncovered one of these critical, invisible systems that keeps our home standing. It just makes you wonder, what other invisible systems, what other unseen expertise is out there working hard to keep your world safe every single day?